a little bit, we never seem to go forward any further, and then we go back 2 steps, right? We go forward 1 and back 2, because the Lord shows me something that I missed, or shows me something that I wanted to just kind of bring out. So we're over here, we're with Moses again. We're in Exodus, where we made it into chapter 4, the first verse. We're going to go back to the chapter 3, the end of chapter 3. I apologize for that, man. I do, but I'm telling you. So what we figured out here is that Moses is being told to go into Egypt to get his people. He's talked to the Lord. He's asked him what his name was and who am I, and then what is your name? And then, the Lord says, look, man, I'm Jehovah. We talked about that last week. We're not going to go back over that, but he says, look, I want you to go. And we're over here in Exodus. This is 3, and we're going to go, I don't know, just down. I can't, probably verse 17. And it says, and I've said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt, of the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites. And it says that you're going to go over there and you're going to speak to the people and they're going to heed your voice. So he's talking about the Christians, right? He's saying, telling Moses, he's saying, I'm going to send you over there, and the Christian, your people, your brothers, your sisters, they're going to heed your voice. They're going to listen to what you have to say, right? So that encourages Moses, kind of like, and I'm just going to relate this to our world, right? As we go forth, right? As Christians, we all believe, right? We believe what we're talking about. We believe the promises God gives us. We believe that we can go forward and we can make a difference and we can change things. And that's what he's telling Moses. So he's kind of encouraged. But then as you go down a little bit further, it says that, but I'm sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, not even by a mighty hand. So he's saying, look, even though as Christians, right, we come in here on Sunday morning, we get encouraged or whatever. Lord tells us to go. We believe it. We believe his message. We believe what we're going to do. And he says, but look, man, I'm telling you, that you guys, you're going to go and you're going to go to Pharaoh, the king. He's not going to believe you, right? Is that not the same that we deal with? We as a group here, we get fired up, we get encouraged, we get whatever. We go out into the world. Does the world believe us? I'm telling you, you think about it sometimes, right? But as a whole, it's like a losing battle, right? I feel like, man, I'm talking to my work, I'm talking to my family, I'm talking to whoever, and it's like continually, they're just not believing it, right? And so, Moses like, what, man, you're sending me over there. Now they're not going to believe me. So why am I even going, right? Why am I? And do we feel the same way? A lot of times, right? Do I feel like I want to keep going to work and keep witnessing to people at work, or go to people out in the world and keep witnessing to them? If I'm continually, they're not believing me, Lord. They're just not believing what I'm saying. And you get discouraged with that, right? Moses has to be in the same thing, but God's being honest with him. Just like he's being honest with us. He says, look, it's not about you going and people not believing. It's about what? It's about that I told you to go. So you go, right? You have your position that you need to do. They may not believe you. They may not hear it. So what does it say? It says, and this is where I'm coming around to. And it says, as you go down further, he says, they're not going to believe you even by a mighty hand, right? But then you go a little bit further and he says that, but I will stretch out my hand. Who's going to stretch out his hand? That's the Lord. That's God is going to stretch out his hand. And it says, and strike Egypt with many wonders, which I will do in their midst. And after that, he will let you go. After that, he's going to believe what you say. After that, he's going to concede to what the plan is. But only when the Lord reaches out and strikes them or puts wonders on them. Now you got to look, what does the Lord use out there in the world, right? I plant a seed, right? It seems like I'm getting no fruit from that. It seems like the world's not listening to me. It seems like I'm not going anywhere and I'm just kind of beating my feet, right? Well, Lord, what? You got COVID, right? You got a death of a family member. You got a financial loss. You got something that goes on in the Lord. You got good things, man. Maybe you have salvation. Maybe you have a wondrous thing, a miracle that happens in your family. Then the people say, wait a minute, man, I see this miracle. And then what comes back into the recollection of them? What Kip said, what I said, that seed that is planted, when God does his work in that seed, whichever portion, we may be the one that plants the seed. We may be the one that's going to work and encouraging somebody that's down and out, and they already know about it, but we're the one that's going out there and encouraging them, right? We may be the one that see when they're down and they're at their lowest, and then they give their life to the Lord and they get that salvation. And we're the one there to lead them to that. everybody in that has their purpose. Everybody has their purpose. We cannot get discouraged just because we don't see the fruit, because I'm telling you, the world is getting worse, right? The things are getting harder, but that doesn't make my mission any different than what it was when I started this thing, right? And that's what this is showing him. He says, Moses, look, they may not listen to you. It may take a while. I'm going to work in their heart, and they're going to come around and they're going to listen. But you do what I've told you to do. We got to get to the point where we don't just fail on that and say, you know what, I've been to that person this many times and I can't do it anymore. And I'm just done with that. And I've had enough. And so I want to turn over, and I want you to, because this is something that we're going to turn over to Ezekiel. If you can find that. Okay. Ezekiel. And I'm going to read this to you. And I want you to see what this says. I got to put my glasses on here. Okay. Ezekiel 33. Okay. And this is talking about the watchman and his message. And we're going to relate this to our life right here. And it says that the word of the Lord, this is Ezekiel 33:1. Again, the word of the Lord came to me saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people and say to them, okay, this is, he's bringing a prophecy to them, right? When I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land take a man from their territory and make him their watchman, right? So they take a person that is supposed to be watching over the land to make sure that nothing goes wrong with it or whatever. And it says, and when he makes him their watchman, when he sees the sword coming upon the land, if he blows a trumpet and warns the people, then whoever hears the sound of the trumpet and does not take warning, if the sword comes down and takes him away, his blood shall be on his own head. What is that? What is that saying? That is saying that, look, you have a watchman that is over the people, that sees what's going on in the town or in the place or in the whatever. Do we see what's going on in the world? We are the watchmen, right? We are the ones that see the downfall of the way things are going in the world, right? If we go and we tell people, we say at work, we see somebody that's not doing what they should be doing. They're not living the way they should be living. They're going down a wrong road, whether it's a family member, whatever it is. If we tell them that, right? If they do not heed what I tell them, and then they go all the way down to their death and all the way down to destruction or wherever, whose blood is on? Whose blood is that on? It's on theirs. It's on there, right here where you go, right? That says that if we warn them, then the blood is on them. Okay. But if we do not warn them, but it says right here, it says, but he who takes the warning will save his life. But if the watchman sees the sword coming, sees the destruction coming, sees the demise coming, right? As we see it. And it says, and does not blow the trumpet, does not warn people, does not tell people, right? God tells me, I want you to go and I want you to speak to somebody because I see the life I see the path they're going down. I see what they're doing. Chad, I want you to go and they may not listen to you, but I want you to tell them what's going on in their life. I want you to tell them there's a better way. I want you to tell them there's another path. You go do that. It says, but if you see that and the Lord tells you to do it, and it says, and the people are, and it says, and you see the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, if the sword comes down and takes any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. That person dies in his sin, dies in his destruction, dies in the place that he's at, right? Because he wasn't warned. And it says, but his blood I will what? I will require at the watchman's hand. You understand what that's saying to us? So we can't say, I've tried to tell this person and they're not listening to me, and I'm just done going to the world and being a witness. I'm done going and trying to do, because nobody wants to hear what I want to say. The world's coming against me. No, you are responsible. We are not here, and I say it again, we're not here for our own comfort. I'm not here for my own comfort. I'm not here to make $1 million. I'm not here to build a bigger place. I'm not here to get prosperity and get recognition it's about what I can do for the Lord, right? It's about leading people to him. Why do we have baptism? Because there's people that went out there, told people about the Lord. They believed it, and they've come to him. They've changed their direction. They've changed their life, right? Again, there is an eternity, right? We've got to understand there is an eternity, an eternal damnation and an eternal life, right? We've got to do our part. And that's what he's saying to Moses. He says, look, Moses, don't worry about that. They're not going to listen to you, because I'm going to bring my hand down, and then you're out of the equation. Then if they don't listen, it's on them. It's not on you, right? Do your part. So I felt like we kind of missed that. And I also felt like as you go forward, he talks about that you got, I'm going to deliver them. They're going to be prosperous. You're going to plunder them. You're going to go, you're going to bring them out. He laid it all out for Moses, right? Then you get over here in Exodus, right? And this is kind of where we ended and kind of where we are starting or whatever. But it says, then Moses answered and said, but suppose they will not believe me or listen to my word or to my voice. Suppose they say the Lord has not appeared to you. Who's he talking about? Is Moses talking about people? Yeah, he's talking about people, but really who's Moses talking about in that? Talking about himself. He said, but Lord, what if they don't believe you? And he's saying, Lord, I really don't believe you, right? When God tells me to go do something, who is it? I may say, but they're not going to believe. And it's really, Lord, I don't believe that you can do that in their life. I don't believe you can change them and do whatever in their life. I'm questioning, but Moses, man, I just went through and I told you that this is the plan, right? We have the Bible, right? We know what God's plan is. He already told us that, look, this is the way it's going to go, that I'm going to be victorious. I'm in control. Have faith in that. But I'm like, but Lord, but what if you're wrong, right? What if you're wrong? That's what Moses said. So my question is, after that whole Moses has been spoken to at the bush, man, he's out there in the wilderness. The Lord has actually come to him, given him a direction, given him a voice, given him everything that he needs. Moses still doesn't believe that he can do what he told him he could do. Why does Moses not believe? That's the question that I have. Why does he not believe? Because and how do we relate that? How do we relate that to our life? Yes, Kemuel.
Perhaps it has to do with what you had said before, and but I think we all know that if you really were in the actual presence of God, you'd be face down and be overwhelming. And he's like, I'm unworthy. So how are you calling on me, or any of us? How are you calling on me to do your work? I'm unworthy, and so therefore this can't be real.
Right. So Kemuel is saying that he's saying that I'm not worthy to go do your work. Right. Same way we talk to us. I'm not worthy to go out and do your work, Lord. And why are you calling on me? And I just can't believe that I'm good enough, right? That I'm able to do that. Yeah.
Maybe he's also overwhelmed by fear. We get distracted when we're afraid. And so we can't really think about the glory of God when all we can see is, oh no, I have to go back to Egypt where they're going to kill me because I killed someone.
Right. So overcome with fear. Right, that I don't know if I can do that because the world is against me. Right. What is it in our life? Why are we not doing what we should do? Why are we not witnessing the way that we should witness? What is it, man? Yes.
Just like Moses, he's thinking about all the excuses that, I stutter, I killed someone, nothing I'm doing, I can do myself.
Right. Can't do it myself. Right. And John?
It's kind of like what everybody's saying, is we overwhelm ourselves with our own sin.
We overwhelm ourselves with our own sin.
Either we want to change or we don't. So we feel like, how can we go say this person when we got our own.
Right. When I got my own issues, when I got my own sin, when I'm living in the world and I'm not changing my life, how am I worthy to go speak to somebody else? Right. That's another. Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
I think fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection. There you go.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection, that the world's not going to believe me, that I don't want my feelings hurt. Right. I don't want to go out there and get my feelings hurt, man. I'm just scared of that. Right. I mean, are those legitimate reasons? Sure they are. Who is that focused on when we do that? It's focused on me, and it's my ability to do whatever I'm going to do. Lord, am I strong enough to do it? Am I worthy enough to do it? Am I sinless enough to do it? Am I whatever it is, man? Right. And those are issues. Now I want to listen. And this is where I get this. And there's another thing, and it goes along with everything that we're talking about that the Lord spoke to me about. Let's go back over, and I'm going to read Exodus 2. Okay. And this is back before. Okay, this is back before when Moses was over there. We're going to go to Exodus 2. Okay, and let's see where I want to go on this. Exodus 2, and we're going to go to verse 11. Okay, Now it came to pass, this is Exodus 2, verse 11. It came to pass in those days, okay, when Moses was grown. Okay, so as a backdrop on this, in those days that Moses was born, where was Moses? He's over there in Egypt. What position was Moses in? He was right under the king, right? He had been brought up as a Hebrew child for just a little bit of time. And then as he was weaned and whatever, he went into the king's palace, brought up in the king's ways, brought up in the king's customs, brought up in the king's speech. He was right. He was right in line to take over the kingdom, is what he was. In those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren. You understand that it says he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, even though, right? And this bears speaking of, he was brought up in the way of the Lord, right? He got into the world. He got into Pharaoh's kingdom. He got into being right under the king and all that stuff, right? Did he lose his knowledge and his understanding of who God was and who his people were? Think about that. We have people that fall out, right? Do we have people that fall out? I'm dealing with that in my life as we speak, right? Does that mean that they just totally forget about what they were told when they were younger? They don't. And when they come back around, right? We keep, I'm believing it till I see it. I'm having faith in that. I'm praying about that. I'm walking in that way. I'm saying, I'm already praying. Thank you, Lord, for restoration. Thank you, Lord, for bringing this person back around. Thank you for doing what you've done. I'm believing that, right? This says when he got to that age, he realized, man, wait a minute, man, I'm in the wrong place, right? I'm in the wrong place. I see my people. I see the oppression. I see the slavery. I see the beating. I want to deliver them, right? That's his heart. I want to deliver them, right? And back over in Exodus 2, and it says that he went out to his brethren. He looked at their burden, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren, right? He realized that he hadn't been with him for a long time, but he was realizing that, look, the kingdom of Pharaoh and being in the high palace and having the money and having the things and having the recognition and having all this is not what it's about. We'll learn that one day, right? We'll learn that one day. I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over, and I say it over and over again. I work with people that have a bunch of money and a bunch of esteem, and they're not happy. You see people that are millionaires that are killing themselves and more than anybody else, because they realize, man, this is not a fulfillment for me. This is not what it's about. There's something more than this. I'm telling you. And he says that he walked out of that, and he said he saw his brethren. He said he looked this way, looked that way. When he saw no one, right, he killed the Egyptian and he hit him in the sand. That's about as dumb as you can get, right? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to throw him in the sand. I'm going to pile a bunch of sand in and it's going to blow off. And there he sits, man. You're going to see him, right? That's what he did. And it says, and he hit him in the sand. He went out the second day. Okay. So this is, he killed an Egyptian that was against his people, right? It went out the second day. 2 Hebrew men were fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why are you striking your companion? So he comes off of the high throne down to his people that he feels like he's in connection with. And he says, look, why are you guys fighting? You're brothers, right? You're one, you're brothers. Why are you and what does the guy say to him? He doesn't recognize him as one of his brothers. He says, why are you striking him? And he said, who made you the prince and the judge over us? Who do you think you are coming back into my life and judging me for what I'm doing? Look, you've been up in the kingdom of, do we not do that? You've been over here and up here, and you think, and then all of a sudden you can come back down to where I'm at and judge who I am. No, that's not the way that works, right? And Moses is doing that out of love for him, right? But everybody, they're looking at him like, who do you think you are, man, right? And it says that, he says, do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? He said, you're going to do the same thing to me as you did to the Egyptian? And it says that Moses figured out, it says, surely this thing is known. When Pharaoh heard this matter, he sought to kill Moses. And that's when Moses fled to Midian. Okay. So all that to say, as Moses is over here and God has called him to go and called him to do, and he's gone through this whole list of, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of this. God's like, I've refuted that. I've refuted this. And you know, I'm telling you, it's going to work out. You're going to be in control. You're going to lead these people out. I've already shown you that. But what if I don't? What if they don't believe me? So he still doesn't believe because, and I'm telling you, and tell me this is not my life. This is my life. I know it's our life, man. I know it is. Because of his past, he could not go into his future. How many people have something in my past? I don't know what it is in your past. I don't know if it's a family that's hurt you. I don't know if it's a finance that's destroyed you. I don't know if it's whatever it is in my past that I cannot get forward. He's saying, look, I want you to go back to me. He's saying, I can't go back to them. They didn't listen to me the first time. What is to say they're going to listen to me this time? And is that not the same thing the Lord says to me? He says, Chad, I see this person that's lost out here. I see this person that needs help out here. I see this person that is struggling out here. I want you to go to, well, Lord, man, I've already gone to that person. Do you know they made me feel ashamed? Do you know that they embarrassed me? Do you know that they put me down? Do you know they made fun of me? Do you know they did whatever? I can't go back to that person. We can't forgive them, right? I can't, this person sinned against me and you know what they did and they haven't apologized to me. Now you want me to go back out there to them and witness to them and deliver them and help them? I can't do that, right? Why do I want to? Because my heart is not right in that, right? How many people are living? And I wrote down here, and this is, if I can read it, you know how that goes. If I can find it and read it. It says, I wrote, present discouragements often arise from former disappointments, right? I am discouraged today because of what went on 20 years ago. Yeah. I still can't get by that thing. I can't move forward. God's like, look, man, I've put them in a different situation. I've put you in a different situation. Do what I tell you to do, man. They're ready for it. How many people are missing the blessing that God is calling us to go back to them because we already were there one time? We don't feel like God can do it again. Does God change things? Yes. Yeah. Has God changed the Hebrew children? Yes. Are they ready to be delivered now? Yes. Has God changed people in our life that are just waiting for us to come? They're not going to come to us, right? As much as it is within you, be peaceable to all men. As much as is within you, you be the witness. You be the bigger person. You be the better person, right? I can't do that. And I wrote here, don't let the past dictate our future. Don't stay where you're at. I'm telling you, there's people that God says, look, I want to use you to do things for me. I want you to do something for me. And I'm saying, Lord, I can't do it because I failed in the past, man. And how many people, I'm asking you, look at your life. I've said it before. Are you in the same place you were at 2 years ago? Are you in the same place you're at a year ago? Are you moving forward, or are you a pond? Or are you a river? Is the devil saying to you, Chad, you failed at that one time. You know the Lord's not going to change that and do that. And you know that. So don't even try that again a second time. Right? And I stay right where I'm at. And I can't move forward. God's saying, I've got so much more for you if you would just give that up, man. If you would go back to that person and apologize, or it doesn't even matter if it was their fault, man. Go back to them and love them and whatever it is, right? Moses is stuck right there. He can't move forward. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of us in here. I don't know who you are. I'm not looking at anybody in particular. I'm looking at myself, man. We're stuck where we're at because we can't get past former discouragements and problems. Yes, John.
There's a good book that was recommended to me by someone, Forgiving What You Can't Forget.
Yes.
And that really, after reading that really helped me with stuff 20 years ago, stuff that was present and in between.
Yeah, I agree with it completely. You know, we got to.
I heard a quote yesterday on the road, and it has stuck with me all day at work yesterday and everything too, but it said, unforgiveness is the poison we drink, hoping that somebody else will die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm telling that person that the Lord sends us back to do whatever. And we say, no, man, I can't forgive them. Do they remember? Are they the ones sitting there worrying about what happened a year ago, 5 years ago? They could give a rip, man. They're not thinking about that. Right, no. Yeah, and I've forgiven them in the past, and I've seen them fail again. I've seen them. Look, it's not my job, it's not my job to cure that. It's my job to live peaceably. It's my job to do what God's told me to do. It's my job to forgiveness sets you free. Forgiveness it sets me free. That's right. But we are in such a hard place, and we feel like, well, I'm going to look like less of a person, man. I'm going to look like I'm weak. I'm going to look like I'm whatever. And no, man, you are doing what, think about the Lord coming down on the cross, right? I mean, literally, he looked at us. He said, why do I need to go save those people, man? They don't give a rip about me. They don't, because I love them that much, man. I'm willing to humble myself to the point where I'm willing to die on the cross for what they've done for me, right? But I can't humble myself to go back to somebody and say, hey, man, let's reconcile, man. Let's get back and, get past that stuff, man. Let's move forward. I want God to free me. I want to be used, right? We want to be used. Okay. So that's what I wanted to kind of touch on from last week, where we were. I think that I know that there's I've talked to a lot of people that they just can't move forward because of what's gone on in the past. They just can't move forward. Give it up, man. I'm telling you right now, give it up. Give it to God. Humble yourselves and go. And ask forgiveness. Ask whatever. Are you going to get hurt again? Maybe.
Past is what defines you now.
Yeah.
That's what's taught you where you're at now.
That's right.
The stepping stones.
And we were there, right? If I didn't have somebody come back to me, man, I was one mean man. I was ruthless. I was, but I had people in my life that kept coming back and said, Chad, I know you're better than that, man. I know you can move past this. I know. And they kept coming, and finally it stuck, right? Finally I had someone love me enough to show me that I'm better than I think I am, man. The Lord can use me, right? The devil will tell you right here on my shoulder, you can't get by that, man. Who can you go witness this person knowing what you've been and knowing what you are and knowing how you've been and blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay. So moving forward. So we're going and we're over here in Exodus. So we talked about the rod turning into the serpent. So after that, you would think the Lord would just hammer Moses and be like, man, I've told you, kind of like us, man. He doesn't, he just long suffering, man. He loves us. Long suffering towards us, right? Long suffering towards Moses. We have a forgiving God, a loving God. He should have wiped me out years ago, man. Daily when I go out and do the things I do, God looks and he's like, man, if it wasn't the blood on him, I'm telling you what, I'd knock him out in a heartbeat, because that mug is just stupid.
He still can.
Sure he can, man.
God, he knows what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
man.
so
The Lord
because
knows.
You're not being fruitful. and
Sure.
You're going to hinder other people. They'll
Sure.
help you.
That's right. He might, man. Keep it up. He might. Right? So we went through the rod. He said, well, okay, Moses, I'm going to give you some signs. We went through the rod, threw it down, it became a serpent. He picked it back up. That was the leader of Egypt, right? And he said, look, I got power over that. That is Satan, right? That is the serpent that deceived. Look, I'm crushing his head. I've got power over that too, man. I've got power over these things. He said, but if they don't believe that sign, look at the next sign. And we touched on this, but I want to go a little bit deeper into this, okay? And you're going to have to kind of help me with this as far as kind of teaching on this, because this is, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me I know what I want to say, but saying it. So you get down, it says, okay, and it's down here in verse 6, okay? This is Exodus 4:6. It says, furthermore, the Lord said to him, now put your hand into your bosom, and I'm going to read this and then we'll talk about it. And he put his hand into his bosom and he took it out, and behold, his hand was leprous like snow. Okay. And it says it was leprous like snow. And he said, put your hand back in your bosom again. So he's put his hand back in his bosom again. He drew it out of his bosom, and behold, it was restored. So what is on the surface, what is that talking about? Just as a surface meaning. Just a meaning of that.
God has power over our physical wellness and our healing.
God has power over our physical wellness and our what? And our healing. That's right. That's right. What is leprosy? I wrote down, what is leprosy? It's a skin disorder, right? Causing nerve paralysis, feeling loss, insensitive. God could have used any disease, right? God could have used, but he chose leprosy. right? Because of, and I believe he chose it for a reason. So what does disease symbolize in the Bible? What does disease symbolize in the Bible? Sin, right? So sin, curse, disease, right? That's what that symbolizes. Where did he tell Moses to put his hand? He could have told Moses, put your hand in your pocket and pull it back out. Put your hand behind your back, pull it back out. Put your hand behind your head and pull it back out. Where did he tell him to put it? Over his heart, right? Is there a reason he told him that? Huh?
Everybody can see, it's not hidden, it's just like what plain as day where other people can see what's going on.
Right. Was there a reason he said put it in your bosom? Now you look at this, and I thought this was interesting. Talk about NIV, and it says in the NIV, because I looked at this, and it says put it in your cloak, right? Put it in your cloak. In here it says put it in your bosom, which is your heart, right? There's a relevance to why God said that. Okay, so why would God say that? Why would God say put it in here and then pull it out? What is that symbolizing?
Status of your soul.
The status of your soul. Whoever said that, thank you, Alexis. The status of your life, right? What is my heart? What is our heart? Is my heart full of sin, or is my heart full of love? Right. This is just going a little bit deeper into that. If you look at that, putting it over your heart and putting it over, your heart is, we'll look at that too, but why did he choose leprosy? What is the characteristic of leprosy? Decay,
You have to hide yourself.
debility, hide yourself, death, nerve paralysis, feeling loss,
Isolation.
insensitive, isolation. Okay. So as he puts that in there, you're talking about, and you pull that thing back out, and all of a sudden you have no feeling in your hand. You have death in your hand. You have leprosy in your hand. You have a problem, right? That's coming from what? That's coming from your heart, right? That's coming from your heart. Talking about, look over here. What is the condition of our heart? That he could have had him put it anywhere. The heart is what brings forth to the hand. I do what I'm doing with my hands, with my body, with my life, because of what's in my heart. It reflects. Now look over here. Now look with me. Luke 6. Okay. Let's read this. Luke 6, because I want to know the condition of our heart. Right. And when you look at, well, let's read this first. Luke 6. I'll read verse 45. Okay, we'll read really verse 43. Okay. Luke 6, verse 43. For a good tree does not bear bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. Right? You're not going to get oranges off an apple tree. You're not going to get grapes off a fig bush. Right? That's what that's saying. For every tree is known by its fruit. Right? For men do not gather figs and thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. Okay. And then right here, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good. And an evil man out of the evil treasures of his heart brings forth evil. For out of the abundance of his heart, his mouth speaks. Right. So when you look at out of the abundance of my heart, my mouth speaks. When I put my hand over my heart and I bring that back out, and it's sin, it's callous, it's insensitive, it's debilitated, it's just death. That's coming from my heart, right? How the hand is what serves, right? How do we serve and how do we do? How is the condition of our heart? And I wrote here, as far as do we have a calloused heart? And out of the abundance of my heart, what? My mouth speaks. I would, Sharon, I'm coming to church today, man. I'm talking about somebody, right? Should we talk about people? No. Calloused heart, out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks, right? I said, if this person would do this, this, and this, and they wouldn't be like this, they wouldn't be. She said, you're insensitive, man. She didn't know what I was teaching on. And she said, you're insensitive, man. You don't have any feelings towards. And I said, yeah, I do, but I just see what they're doing. I'm calloused, right? Are we calloused in the things that we're saying to people? Do people need to hear me telling them how wrong they are and telling them in a way that I'm hammering them and telling them in a way that I'm putting them down, and is that how I need to speak to people? insensitively? Is that what we need to do?
Especially speaking in love.
I mean, speaking in love, right? Insensitivity, not relating to feelings of people, right? Beating people down.
See past the sin and see their potential.
See past their sin and see their potential. And you got to go the other side of this too, right? Do I not say anything?
No.
Do I not say anything? I love John. I've told John a whole lot of things over the years. Trust me on that. I busted John and busted John and busted John, right?
Hard.
That's like I told John one time, I said, when he said you're busting chops, you don't think me ever bust my chops over last night?
Sure, man. There's probably other people in here. I've busted your chops too, man. I mean, that's just what we do.
Because you got that relationship.
But we've got to do it in love, right? Speaking in love out of the abundance of my heart. I'm saying this to you, not because I want to beat you down, not because I want to wear you out and I want to feel like I'm better than you. A lot of times we do that, right? We feel like we're better than you and I can wear you out and I can say whatever. You got something?
Yeah, John's right that you have to have a relationship with somebody.
Gotta have a
If you come out hard, yeah.
You can't just.
Right. And what is the saying? People don't care how much I know until they know how much I care. People don't care how much I know. They don't care how much I know about the Bible, how much I know about real life experience until they know how much I care about them. And then when they know I care about them, then they're willing to listen to what. If we don't care about people, we have no right to go out and bust their chops and to tell them we have to care about. This is a calloused heart, right? This is what he's talking about right there. And I wrote, do we have leprosy of the heart? Why did he have him put it over his heart? Because that is where our sensitivity, that is where our love, that is where our forgiveness, that is where our life goes, right? That's what it is. And I wrote right here, as you look at the disease of loneliness, which is leprosy, right? And I wrote, sin starts as what? What does leprosy start as? What does leprosy start as? Does it all of a sudden, man, my nose is white and it falls off? That all of a sudden my hand is just white and falls? Sores, little sores, you lose your sensation, you lose, just like this COVID, right? It doesn't all of a sudden one day I just bam and I'm, well, maybe, but right. It comes in steps, just like cancer, right? It's building in steps, right? Is that sin in our life? When I have some kind of sin in my life, the Lord's speaking to me about that sin, whatever it is in our life, whatever it is in my life, your life, whoever's, that sin comes on slow, right? That mug grows, right? That grows. And what does it do? As that sin grows,
There's a certain way in the heart.
it takes over. Literally takes over. It separates me, right? What does separation do? If I'm living in sin in here, I can lie to you all and say I'm living right and I'm doing right and I'm whatever. But if I'm living in sin, I'm not going to be here long, because your sin will find you out, right? And then I'm gonna separate and I'm gonna go over here. Same thing. What did a leper have to do when they came into a public place? What did they have to do? How did they separate themselves? They had to scream out, unclean, man, unclean. And everybody said, oh, that mug right there, I'm getting away from him and I'm moving out, man, because you're unclean. You stay over there by yourself. You do your thing and I'm staying over here. Tell me, sin, when I do sin and I get into sin, where does it lead me? Where does it lead me? Does it lead me to fellowship with you guys and fellowship? It leads me to myself. And the devil tells me, Chad, look at the sin in your life, man. Look at what you're doing in your life. Look at how you're living, and you don't need to be in there with them. You have no right to be with them. Move out and go by yourself and separate yourself, isolate yourself. And that's where it gets us. Am I right about that?
Sins can help others because you can relate to, I've been there, done that.
Sure. When you come by out of sin, right? But sin starts as a harmless spot and it separates us. Now let's look over here. And I wrote that Moses' hand represents the hand that serves, human instrumentality, right? That was his hand. That's why he did that to his hand, right? But he also told him what? Stick your hand back in on your heart and pull that back out. And it is restored and it is white, it is clean and it is healthy and it is whatever, right? That's what he told him. So let's look over here because I want to, this is a good thing. Romans 5. Okay. I want to look over here at Romans 5. Because do we as people, and this is, do we think that we are sinners? Do we think that we're sinners? That's a questionable thing, right? Because sometimes we all are sinners, but do we think they're sinners? When you talk to the world, do they think they're living in sin, or they're separated from God, or they're no, man, justified, man. What do you mean? I can do what I need to do, and I don't need to do Romans 5. I'm going to go over here to verse 12. Okay. I'm going to read this to you right here. Therefore, just as through one man sin entered the world, and death through sin, and thus death spread to all men because all sinned. Who is he talking about? Who's he talking about? The man that sin entered in through? Adam, right? Adam. It says that all have sinned through Adam. And it says in verse 14, nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who had not sinned according to the likeness of the transgression of Adam, who is a type of him who was to come. That's just saying, look, just because you may not have done the same sin Adam did when Adam came into the world, you're talking about where we're looking at the progression in the Bible, and Smith's talking about that, right? He's saying we used to be up here, right? But because of Adam, we all did what? We all fell. We all fell into that sin. There's nobody righteous, none, right? That's what it's saying. It says, but the free gift is not like the offense. For if by one man's offense many died, much more the grace of God and the gift of grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abounded to many. And the gift is not like that which came through the one who sinned. For the judgment which came from one offense resulted in condemnation, but the free gift which came from many offenses resulted in justification. For if by one man's offense death reigned through the one, much more those who receive abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness will reign in life through the one Jesus Christ. Correct? Jesus is the one that restores. You put that hand into your bosom, you pull it back out, Jesus restores that. Correct? That's what we're talking about. That is the new covenant. That's the new covenant. And that's what he's showing him. He said, just said, I have power over disease to heal, and I have power over disease to cure. But what he's talking about, I have power over death, and I have power over life, and I have power only through your heart being changed by the blood of Christ. There is no other way.
I don't know if this is related to, I get confused on this part. Is that in the same turn as there's something in there in the Bible that says the sins of our sins, the punishment can be passed upon our children or something to that?
Right. No, that's in the Old Testament, and I know exactly what you're talking about, but our sin is not passed on, and it talks about in the Old Testament. I can find that where it says that your sin does not relate. My sin does not pass on to you, and does not. That's talking about that as I live in sin, my lifestyle passes on, right? You can lead people in your lifestyle to sin, right? We can find that, but I don't have it. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on from that. So that is the restoration. That's why I said, put it over your heart. We have a restored heart. And I ask you, do we have a restored heart? Right? Is our heart restored? Are we insensitive? Are we callous? Is our mouth speaking things that it shouldn't be speaking? Because it's coming from my heart. What you put the bucket into the well, right? You pull that bucket out, you get water in that thing. Well, the well's full of water. You get mud and schmuck in that thing. What's it full of? What comes out of my heart? If I'm speaking schmuck and mud and junk, that's what's in my heart. If I'm speaking love and forgiveness and right, that's what's in my heart. So you can determine in your life where you're at in that, right? Where we're at and how we're doing that. But that's what he's saying. So let's go back over to Exodus. And this is going to be the third thing. So he says that, you put that into your bosom, you put it in there, you pull it out, it's sin, white, death, put it back in. Through me, I have life, restored, forgiveness, right? So he says, and we're going to read on here. And he says, if, that they may believe the message, and it shall be that they do not believe even these two signs, or listen to your voice, then you shall take water from the river, right, and pour it on dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on dry land. What's that talking about? What's that talking about? The water you take out of there, you're going to pour it on dry land. It's going to become blood. What is the river he's talking about? What river? Life. Okay. But what river literally is he talking about here? What river? The Nile River. What is the Nile River to the Egyptians? Literally life, right? brought their, brought their food to them, brought their water to them. Yeah, I mean, brought everything to them. It was their life, right? And I wrote here, it brought blessing to them. It brought refreshment to them, fruitfulness to the land, right? Their health depended on it. Their literal life depended on it. What is a sign of this turning the water to blood? What is that a sign of? That's a sign of judgment, right? Lord saying, look, I'm gonna judge. If you don't believe this, then I'm gonna take the very thing that brings you life, the very thing in your life that is a blessing, the very thing that is fruitful in your life and good in your life. And if you don't believe and you use that in the wrong way and you do the wrong thing, I'm going to turn that into death. And I'm going to turn that into judgment. Now, how do we relate that to our life? How do we relate that to our life when you're looking at that?
Well,
What do you
like I said earlier.
say it out?
It's smoky.
It's smoke you. Okay. John says he'll smoke you, man. Gotcha.
But if a worldly treasure is your God, I think that's where
You
you're
take that.
You gotta listen. You gotta apply this to our life. This is life application. That's what we're teaching on, man. Right? This is like, man. What is a blessing? Has God blessed us? Yes, Alexis. Go ahead.
If you trust the Nile to be your security.
If you trust the what?
The Nile, like
The
how
Nile
people
to be-
trusted that as security.
as
rather than
security.
trusting God.
Sure, they trusted the Nile security rather than trusting God. Right? Bring it around to your life, man. Has God blessed us? Man, we are in America. As bad as it is right here, let me tell you what, man, we are blessed, right? We have been blessed beyond, in every way. I'm telling you, in every way. I think that my life is rough because I drive my Prius. I need a big Band-Aid on. Man, at least you got a Prius to drive, right? At least you got a job to go to. At least you can come in here to this room and have health to be in here, to think. We are blessed people, right? But do we use our blessing? And this is what got me. Do we use our blessing for God? They use their blessing to fulfill them and to do what they needed and to lift them up and to be productive for them. Are we using our blessing to lift me up and to get more and to get more esteem and to get more things and to get more whatever? Or are we using my blessing that God has given me to lift him up? Because I'm telling you, what can God do with our blessing? Just like he can do right here with the Nile. He can turn that mug into death. He can. Have you ever been there? I've said it before, which is a stupid example. I had a truck, man. Nice truck, man. I want a better truck, right? I thought, well, I need a better truck. I went out and got that truck, man, right? I was blessed with my first truck. That second truck I got, man, it was a better truck. It was a prettier truck. It was more power. That mug was a curse, man. I had a bigger payment on it. I had it was the Lord just literally, I'm telling you, it was a curse to me. I took my blessing and traded it for a curse, thinking that I got something better out of it. And do we do that in our life? Do we do that in our life? God blesses me with a good job, with finances, with health, with a voice, with a people, and I turn that into myself and building myself up and doing myself. And God says, Chad, I'm telling you, man, turn yourself around. You glorify me. Stop glorifying yourself. Stop lifting. Stop bragging about yourself. Stop doing, whatever. Right. I told Smith, I said, yeah, man, our class is growing. Right. I told him, I said, man, we got 40 people. Sometimes, man, we get a bunch of people, man. And he turned around, he looked at me and he turned around, he looked out at the congregation out there, right? And he said, you see all these people? He said, what is 40 people in view of this? And he said, but this does not matter. It doesn't. What are you doing for the kingdom? You can build 1,000-person small group. What does that matter if you're not doing something for God? And that's what he said. He kicked me right in the teeth with it. It does not matter. It's not about me. It's not about him. It's about God. What God wants to do, God's going to do. Anyway, so let's go over here. I just want to read this to you, okay? This is Deuteronomy 30. And we're getting close to about out of time. And I want to talk about just a little bit about this, okay? Deuteronomy 30. This is the third thing that he shows Moses. He shows him that now you're going to turn this Nile River into a curse, right? And this is Deuteronomy 30, verse 15. It says, see, I've set before you today life and good. Now, let's get a little background on this. Who's talking here? Who's talking here? When in Deuteronomy right here, and it says, see, I've set before you today life and good, death and evil. Who's the one saying this? Moses. That's right. Moses is what is right now, Moses is handing the torch over, right? To who? To Joshua. Why is he handing the torch over? Because it's his time, but because of what? He's getting old. He can't go into the promised land. Why can't he go into the promised land? Because that mug got angry. Hit the rock, right? God said, look, man, you just speak to the rock and it's going to bring forth water. Now Moses said, I'm going to lift myself up. I'm going to hit that rock. These people are a bunch of knuckleheads right here. I'm sick of these people, and I'm going to show them my power, right? And God said, well, you just screwed that one up. You're not going in with them. So Moses right here, he's led him all this time. He can't go in. It says, see, I've set before you today life and good, death and evil. And then I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments, his statutes, his judgments, that you may live and multiply. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land which you go to possess. He's saying, look, he's talking to the people. He's saying, look, you're going to go into this land, right? It's going to be a fruitful land. There's going to be things in there. You're going to grow in your stuff. He said, but I want you to do that. Go into this land and you follow my commandments. You follow my statutes. You keep your eyes on me. What is our tendency? Tell me what our tendency is when I get more stuff, when I get built up, when I get a bigger reputation, when I get man, look at what I'm doing, man. Look at what I have. Look at and man, you talked about the guy that built the bigger barns. He said, you're a dope too, man. I'm going to take your life from you today, man. We're not looking at that, right? What is our tendency? That's what he's trying to tell him. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. As we grow, who knows, man, where we're going to be. But as we grow, what's going to happen? Are we going to keep focused on God, or are we going to focus on ourselves, right? It says, live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, that you do not hear, right? When you get those blessings, when you get lifted up, when you get that platform, when you get that whatever, he says, if your heart turns away so that you do not hear and are drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, right? If I get too big for my britches, right? That's what your mother used to tell you. You get too big for your britches, man, I'm going to bust your tail, man. And that's what God said. Don't get too big for yourself. Don't think too highly of yourself, because I'm telling you what, when you do that, you get away from doing what I've called you to do. And I'm going to turn the Nile River, I'm going to turn that blessing into a curse in your life, right? That's what he's saying. He's saying, and worship other gods and serve them. I announce to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you cross over the Jordan to go in and possess. I call heaven and earth as witness today against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose what? Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live, that you may love the Lord your God, that you may obey his voice, that you may cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to give them. He's saying, look, Chad, do what I tell you to do, man. Keep your focus on me. Stop looking at other things. Stop serving other things. Stop putting your money and your time and your esteem and everything into something else, because I don't want to make that a curse to you, right? But I'm telling you, we do that and we live out there, and then we are cursed because we turn our blessing into a curse, right? Am I the only one there? I'm telling you, am I the only one there? Man, you can get an irrigation system at your house, that mug's going to break, man. You get a pool, you're going to get a hole in it. Right? Don't let that turn into a curse on you. Focus on God. Do what he would have us to do. So next we're going to go into, and we're out of time, man. I got to stop. But so next we're going to go into next week. He gives one more excuse, right? Not being eloquent of speech, right? Everybody can't speak like me, right? We understand that. Kidding, man. I listen. Thank the Lord, nobody could speak like me, man. We just is what it is, right? That's Moses' next excuse. And then the Lord's like, man, there is a point that we just continue to give excuses and excuses and excuses on why we can't do the things that God has called us to do. And finally, God's like, man, I'm so sick of listening to your excuses, man. Right? Right? I mean, that's kind of and that's kind of where it gets with Moses, like, man, come on, dude, I've given you everything. That's what he's saying to us, man. I've given you everything. Go out and do my work. Go out and do what I've called you to do. Do something for me instead of yourself for a change, right? That's what he's saying, man. So let's go forth this week. Do something for God, right? We are God's army. We are God's people. Let's do something for him. Let's lift him up and glorify him. And wherever we're at, whatever, we all have different places we can touch, right? Let's touch somebody for the Lord this week. Let's pray and then we'll be done. Father, we do thank you for this time. Lord, I thank you for just the people online. I thank you for the people in here. I thank you for the people that will listen later. Lord, I pray that you would use us to do what you would have us to do, Lord, that we would do the things that we do to glorify you and not ourselves, Lord, that we would move forward and use your blessings as a blessing to you, Lord, and not just to lift ourselves up. Lord, I do pray again for all the concerns, all the sickness, all the financial, the relationship, the families, just all this stuff going on, that you would touch us. I do pray for this baptism today, that you would lift that up and that you would be glorified through that. Pray for Smith and the message and everything that goes on. Lord, help us to go forward and do your work. Lord, we do love you. We do praise you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.